Howdy everyone on YouTube. Thanks for tuning into the MovoTX Gear Review channel today. So we're still on the topic of outdoor gear, equipment, and outdoor adventuring gear. So in case you haven't figured it out here, we are talking about hydration bladders and hydration pack systems. So I've got a lot of ground to cover. I hope I can do it all. So let's get right to it. So what you're looking at here is we're going to scale up the ladder, so to speak. So at this end of the spectrum, down here, what we have are simple day packs. Okay, so this is my son's 2-liter Coleman Revel 8L. Yeah, Revel 8L. The 8L is not 8 liters. This obviously isn't 8 liters. This is a 2-liter hydration bladder, 70 ounces. He's had this for probably about half a year now. We take it camping and day hikes and things like that, and he really likes it. No problems there. I think we got this at Costco or maybe Walmart. I can't remember, but it's basically big enough to house a sweatshirt, a first aid kit, his emergency signaling kit, and maybe some granola bars or protein bars or something like that, along with his 2 liters of water, and he's good to go. This particular model has the hose outlet tube that runs through the strap, which is kind of nice. It keeps the hose concealed and much more streamlined. The nice thing about it is it has an ambidextrous hose outlet. Okay, so if you're sipping water along your trail, you don't want to be kinking your neck down the same way every time. You want to take a break, at a snack break or a lunch break or whatever, take a breather, and reroute your hose down the other side of your body so that your neck can flex the other way. Otherwise, you can fatigue the top half and strain the top muscles on your neck if you do that. Now, he's so small, and kids are so flexible, it doesn't matter. But when you get older, you got to worry about these things. So switch up your sides on your hydration bladder. In fact, all my packs and all my systems have a kind of ambidextrous set of parameters to the way the hose exits out of the pack. So here's the actual bladder itself. Again, this is pretty much entry level. This is about a $25-$30 pack. 2-liter bladder. It's got a screw detachable hose down here. Good to go. Thumbs up. The only thing about this is there's no valve or anything like that. So once this hose comes out, the water will flow. So keep an eye out for that, and you're good to go. The opening is kind of small. Make sure you use small enough ice cubes if you like ice, and you're good to go. Usually we'll throw this in the freezer about half full, maybe 3/4 full, and freeze it into a block, and that stays nice and cold for him throughout the day. He's never complained about taste and flavor. I have asked him specifically, does it taste good? And he doesn't really care. He just shrugs his shoulders. So like everything else in the human body, I think some people are more sensitive to taste and flavor than others. So personally, I am very sensitive to taste and flavor. So I always put a little bit of lime juice in my water to help kind of wash out or cover up basically that camelback flavor, which all these bladders definitely do have. So that's my son's Coleman pack. He's got a nice bite valve to simply open it up. You pull on it like this and drink away. To close it up, you push it down. Good to go. So this is really nice. You don't want these things dripping like all over your shirt and your clothing when you have when the hose is being worn. So that's good to go. So this is one of my oldest packs. I've had this for about 15 years. It's an old Camelback Mule. Like my son's Coleman pack, it's good for just day hikes. A light sweatshirt, maybe a first aid kit, and you're good to go. This is the 70-ounce bladder that I normally use it with. Again, this is probably about 12 years old, so maybe 10, 12 years old. So the Camelback bladders have changed a lot since this time frame. But still, this goes to show you just how durable they are. Keep them, use them, keep them clean, take care of your gear, and it'll last you a very, very long time. So this is how you see me store my bladders. I take the hose and cram the hose down inside the bladder. It helps it air out, helps it dry. I usually just run scalding hot water in here with baking soda and swish it around, swirl it around, rinse it a bunch of times. Good to go. I don't really use soap in my bladders. I know that's kind of disgusting, but I just can't stand the taint of soap or the smell of soap in my water, so that's just no good. So I'm comfortable with this and using baking soda and hot water. So that's my old Camelback Mule. This is my daughter's pack. It's a High Sierra. We got this at Costco. It's actually a biking and cycling pack, but it serves just as well as a day pack for our long hikes. So it's actually got an internal frame running down the middle of this. I don't know why you need that, but it's actually got a rigid metal aluminum frame going down the middle here, and it's really comfortable for her. She never complains about comfort issues or anything like that. So this outer mesh here is actually for a helmet, but she uses it for her sweatshirts and things like that. So good enough, good to go. Combine that with a Camelback 2-liter bladder. So this is a more recent iteration of Camelback bladder. You saw my old one from 12 years ago, but this is the new one. Here you can detach the hose at the base, and it's got a valve closure on it, so you don't have to worry about water spewing out all over the place. So that's kind of nice for storage and cleaning and all that stuff, and actually part replacement too. Should the hose ever break or whatever, it's easy to interchange parts and replace parts. So the opening is huge on these. Now that's really nice. You can actually put your hand inside and wash out the bladder. Really good, really great. There's some spotty reviews on Amazon about the gasket system leaking on the closure for the cap. I never had that problem. I've got 2 of these and they work fine. You just align the lid to the right spot and just give it a twist and good to go. I've never had a problem retaining water or sealing water with either this one, the 2-liter 70 ounce, or my larger one, which I pair up here with a Coleman day pack. This is a 25-liter Coleman day pack. I like this pack a lot. It's really light. It's not that heavy at all. The fabric is thin. Okay, the straps are not. The straps and strap webbing is not overly done for a 25-liter pack. So it really manages the weight really, really well, which I like. So this is the larger 3-liter Camelback bladder. Same as the 2-liter, but just bigger and larger and taller. So good to go. 3 liters is a lot of water, but in the state of California, everything's so dry right now. There's drought seasons all the time, so we just don't have running water. I'm not going to be able to filter or process water on the trails as I go, so whatever water I want to drink, I better pack in. So it's not uncommon for me to have a 3-liter bladder filled and a couple Nalgene bottles on the sides of my packs to stay hydrated. So I consume a ton of liquid when I'm on the trails. I sweat profusely like crazy, so I'm always rehydrating as I go along. So not exactly an ambidextrous hose attach points. It has a nice one on the right strap to hold onto the hose. I kind of wish they put one on the left. I'm not sure why, but at any rate, it's not really that important. There's enough webbing here. I just run my hose down through the webbing on the left-hand side, and I'm good to go. Kind of ambidextrous in the sense that it's got a central hose opening on the top of the pack. This is a Coleman 25-liter pack, and it's good to go. I like it a lot. It wasn't terribly expensive. The pack itself was like 35 bucks, maybe 40 bucks. So I just added the Camelback bladder, and I'm good to go. It's big enough to carry a heavy sweatshirt, an extra sweatshirt if I wanted to, maybe an additional base layer if I get really wet and really sweaty. Probably don't need to, but there's room in there to do that. First aid kit, signaling equipment, long distance signaling, first aid, emergency equipment, all can fit in here no problem with 25 liters of space. So this pack is significantly larger than the other packs, the other day packs I showed you. So transitioning up and over from day pack into multi-day. Multi-day, this is my Kelty Coyote 80. Now, this is probably too big for a day hike. You could do it, yeah, just pare down your gear, take out your gear, use the compression straps to cinch down your load. You could do this. You could do it for a day hike, although you wouldn't really want to. But nonetheless, you could do it. But this pack is compatible, hydration compatible. Let me try and show you that. Undo the top. And I'm not sure if you can actually see down in there, but there is a pocket. Yeah, it's hard to see. There's a pocket down in there and some hanger clips so you can clip up the bladder so it's nice and suspended the way it should be. Good to go. But this pack is so big, and the kind of cool thing about it is this pack is so big, I can have a system, where's my other one? I can have a hydration subsystem within a system. So this is very typically part of my base camp setup. We'll hike up to base camp, establish a base camp there, and I've got a small enough, there's enough room for a smaller pack so I can do day hikes and day excursions and day outings, using the same 3 liter bladder in either one. So this folds up, this small Camelback folds up nice and small and compact. I just stuff it down the bottom of my Kelty and I'm good to go. So that's kind of the cool thing. What you don't want to do, so if you have the room to do that, definitely do that. What you don't want to do is get to your base camp and do a day hike, but you have no way to carry your hydration bladder. Okay, so I saw some pretty, kid you not, I saw some pretty ingenious things by some of my son's fellow Boy Scouts. They were taking paracord and things like that and lashing it, rigging up webbing and lashing it around their bladders and tying them like around their hips and around their waist. You don't really want to do that. It'll work, and yeah, these kids are ingenious enough and they got it done. But if you can stuff a small day pack hydration pack system as a subsystem of your base camp, go for it. That's awesome. Okay, so along the lines of that Kelty is my son's REI Crest Trail 70. Same thing. He takes his where's his here we go. He takes his Coleman 2-liter bladder. This very easily, very comfortably slides right into the internal pocket in this REI pack. 2-liter. Actually, this pack will accommodate a full 3-liter hydration bladder, but he's just not strong enough, or not big enough yet to really carry that much water. So we limit him to 2 liters in a hydration bladder, maybe a Nalgene bottle on the side, and he's good to go. So kind of the same philosophy. If he has room and if he has space in his pack, he'll pack along his Coleman as a subset. Okay, so this is his base camp, and then he's got his day hike equipment set up, dual setup for that. So, okay, that's pretty much it, guys. Please feel free to comment and post questions and follow-up discussions. I guess if I had one, so the debate is always out there in outdoor gear enthusiast circles. Why would you use a hydration bladder versus like a Nalgene bottle or something to that effect? For me personally, I like having the bulk of my loadout right up against my back. Okay, against the length of my back. Okay, so it does a couple things for me and my body shape and my body strengths and weaknesses. It takes the load, which this is the heaviest thing in my loadout, by the way. It takes it and puts it right up against my body. And it's easier for me to control that way. Okay, as I'm swinging around and navigating up and down trails, I like that. I like the feeling of the mass of load against my body. I like that. Number 2, it's part of my active cooling system. Okay, so when I'm out in the trails, I'm sweating, I'm perspiring, my body's generating heat. Okay, if I have a nice cold, partially frozen or ice cube filled bladder near my back or right up against my back, or even better, if it's up against the ventilation system of my pack, everything on my body is nice and cool. I've been in 105 degrees Sacramento, Central California heat. Very, very comfortable with this convective or with this cooling system in place. So my body generates heat. The heat is drawn away through the cool sensation of the bladder, the water bladder. Now that water bladder is absorbing heat too. So I'm actually melting the blocks of ice that are in there, keeping my system flowing so I have a fresh supply of melted ice water to sip out of. Awesome. I like that a whole lot. Now, I will carry Nalgene bottles on the side of my pack. Don't ask me why. I do. Better to have it there just in case than the other way around, and that's how I roll. So I don't think it's a black and white question. What's better, bladders or bottles, bottles or bladders? I use them both, but these are the pros and cons that I found with hydration bladder. I guess the one con about Camelbacks and hydration bladders really is the taste. They taste terrible. I mean, it's just the plastic and everything. So I always squeeze a little bit of lime juice in my Camelback, and either Camelback, by the way. All these packs, even just because you buy a Camelback, you spend $40, $30 on a Camelback bladder. Don't think for a second it's going to taste any better. Okay, so take that for a grain of salt for what it's worth. Some people the taste doesn't bother them. Like my son, he doesn't care. He's totally immune to it. So I think it depends on us as individuals how sensitive we are to flavors and tastes and things like that. So at any rate, thanks for sitting through this video, guys. Please feel free to post any comments and questions, and I'll get to them and answer them. Have fun out there, stay safe, stay hydrated, and enjoy the rest of your summer. I'll see you guys. Thanks.